So I watched the Where's Wendy Williams documentary on Lifetime, all 4 parts. And clearly what they was trying to do was like a Free Wendy campaign, similar to like the Free Britney campaign. But free Wendy to who? Because all this doc did was show us is that Wendy is not well, y'all. She's not well. And I know they said she was diagnosed with aphasia and alcohol-induced dementia. And clearly, you know, the signs and symptoms are there. For most of the doc, she was either looking like this, she did a whole lot of this, or she was looking like this. And she was only really looking like this when she was drinking. You know, when she was drinking, she was drunk, she was out of it. And she was going through bottles and bottles and bottles of liquor. Again, it's alcohol-induced dementia. So essentially, her dementia is caused by her prolonged excessive use of alcohol. Signs and symptoms are clearly there because she would have a lot of times where she's just blank staring just like this. Even in the midst of talking, she would just blank stare like she was searching for words or her mind just blanked out. Clearly the signs of the aphasia and the alcohol-induced dementia are present. The addiction is very much still present. There was a couple moments that we saw her looking happy and good like this, but that wasn't often. And even in moments where she was happy, she would still end up like this sometimes, just crying, like she would be laughing and just start crying. Now, the doc is called Where's Wendy Williams, and I think a lot of people felt like this was just supposed to be an update to let us know what's going on with Wendy, but really, the point of the doc was to let us know that she has a third-party guardianship that's controlling her money, and that the family and nobody else has access to be able to take care of her using her money, or just be able to take care of her as a whole. According to the family, Wendy has always struggled with like alcohol and things like that. Her son, Kevin Hunter Jr., said that since he was a kid, his mom would go to work, go do her shows and stuff, and then come home, grab some liquor, go in the room and just drink, and he wouldn't see her again until 5 a.m. when it was time to go to work. So the alcohol issues have always been a problem, and we all know that Wendy also struggled with that powder. So over time, that powder and that liquor has taken its toll on her body. Now, she had went to Miami with her son, and her son had power of attorney. Apparently, he was taking good care of her. He had her on a vegan diet. She was showing improvements. And in the doc, they did actually like show her in the kitchen cooking and stuff, trying different vegan recipes. And she did seem to be like, you know, coherent and doing okay. And not to say that she's incoherent now, she's just clearly not well. But in Miami, she had started showing improvements, but the money was disappearing. Now, how the third-party guardianship even came into play is because when Wendy's son was power of attorney and he was taking care of her, Wells Fargo had flagged her account because they said there was large amounts of money being taken out. Now, according to the article, it was about $100K, but her son, Kevin, admitted that his birthday party alone was $120,000, but she through it for him. I believe they said his Uber Eats bill for that year was over $100K. His apartment was a $2 million apartment. He ended up getting evicted from it after, you know, the whole power of attorney was removed. But once Wells Fargo saw that these large amounts of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, is disappearing out her account, they flagged, and it was like, we need to get somebody to step in, because it's clear that she's not coherent enough to really understand exactly how much money is being spent and what it's doing to her. Now, I know that $40 million sounds like a lot to a lot of people, but it depends on your lifestyle, as we know. And when you're trying to make $40 million stretch for the rest of your life, and as Wendy said herself, when she transitioned, she wants her son to be taken care of. She wants him to have everything. But if you have $40 million and y'all are spending $100K on a birthday party, $100K on Uber Eats per year, that $40 million is going to go quickly, you know? So I think Wells Fargo was like, hey, she has a plan for her money. We know it because if you ever had an accountant or anything like that, you had a large amount of money, you know, y'all sit down and you have a plan. If they see that her finances is changing drastically and going against her lifetime plan, then they are going to flag it. And they did. And the courts basically was like, based on the evidence we have, there needs to be somebody else because we can't trust anyone in the family to take care of her. So again, my question is, free Wendy to who? This is Wendy's niece who was in the doc. She seemed to be the realest one, who was like, you know, cleaning house the most, trying to make sure Wendy was taken care of and things like that as she could. But she's very busy. She's a news anchor. She has a busy life. It's clear that she probably doesn't have the time to be able to take care of Wendy. So again, free Wendy to who? Yes, she was doing well when she was with her son, but her son would definitely need to take some financial literacy courses to understand how to properly budget and to know that spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on parties and Uber Eats is not going to cut it if you are trying to make sure that you and your mother are well for the rest of your life. I do think he could take good care of Wendy, and I do think he should have a right to say like what happens to his mom and how she's taken care of. But should he be in control of her finances? Not right now. Wendy's mom transitioned, which definitely took a toll on her mental health. Her dad is elderly and he's not in a position to be able to properly take care of Wendy. Again, we have to remember that Wendy is still struggling with addiction. So she needs to be watched 24/7 to make sure that she is not consuming alcohol and other substances. Daddy is an elder. He can't do it, y'all. Then you got her brother. Her brother, in my opinion, he living his own life. Like the way it looked in the doc, the way he was portrayed, he seems like he cares, but also he don't care enough to try to, take care of her like that. Like he ain't trying to be a 24/7 caretaker of Wendy. He don't give that vibe. And the last reasonable candidate would be her sister Wanda. For some reason, the courts are deeming Wanda ineligible. Who knows why? But her sister to me seems like she, would take care of Wendy and things like that. But I don't know what evidence, and they didn't share what evidence the court had to deem her not eligible to be power of attorney or to properly take care of Wendy. It's clear that she needs 24/7 care. It's clearly that she needs to be watched, observed. She needs a whole lifestyle change. She would be better around family. When she went to visit her family, she, was good while she was there. But then when she got home, she clearly went right back to how she was, but even worse because now that put her into depression. Free Wendy to who? The manager will is not it. The PR lady is not it. So her team that surrounds her is not it. She needs to be with her family, but who in her family could properly do it? The third party guardianship is not working. So free Wendy to who?